Hello, my beautiful gratitude babes. Welcome back to the Gratitude is Yummy podcast. I am so grateful you're here with me today listening. Today, we're going back to the heart of everything I do, the thing that this entire brand, this podcast, the journal, the Gratitude is Yummy method, all of it was built around. And by the title of this episode, you know that is gratitude. Okay. Obviously, I talk about gratitude all the time. It's literally in the name of everything I do. But I realized that with all of our conversations about manifestation and money and desire and abundance and identity and alignment and receiving and everything else we've been diving into, I really wanted to dedicate an entire episode to gratitude itself, the life changing magic of gratitude, because I truly do believe that a lot of people still don't understand just how powerful gratitude actually is, or even how to really use it wisely. You know, a lot of people think gratitude is simply just listing a few things that you're thankful for. And yes, that is a part of it. But real gratitude, true gratitude, like real transformational gratitude goes so much deeper than just saying thank you or just trying to be content with the things that you already have in your life. Okay. There is actual science behind gratitude. There's also an energetic component, of course, to gratitude that I think can completely transform our mindset, your emotional state, the way you experience your life. And yes, the way you manifest things and the things that you do manifest. And I'm not just saying this because I'm the gratitude babe. No, I'm saying this because I've lived these things and I continue to live it every single day through this channel. And I share it as much as I can. Gratitude has really, truly carried me through some of the hardest seasons of my life. It has changed the way I see my circumstances, no matter how good or bad they are. It's changed the way I look at money and relate to abundance in general. It's changed the way I manifest and the things I manifest, and honestly, the way I experience being alive. Period. Right? I mean, that's why I created the Gratitude is Yummy method and journal and the Gratitude Babe brand in the first place. I wanted to share that life-changing magic that I have experienced through gratitude and create a simple practice that could help other people experience it too. So today I want to shine the light completely on gratitude. Gratitude definitely deserves the spotlight. We're getting into 5 powerful benefits of gratitude that you may not even realize you're receiving when you practice it consistently. And then I'm going to show you how you can begin a much more effective gratitude practice of your own. So let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so let's get into the first benefit. The first benefit is mental clarity. Gratitude literally clears your mind. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to spiral when you're stressed out? Like sometimes one thing will go wrong, and then right after your brain decides that, nothing's working, everything is going wrong, it starts looking for all the other things that also aren't going right. Like perhaps a bill that you weren't expecting comes in, or someone sends you a nasty text, or someone pisses you off at work. And now you're thinking about all the times that this person pisses you off and how annoying they are and how you can't stand your job and all the, and then you start thinking about all the money issues you have, and you have to keep this job because you need the money to do all these things. And you just start spiraling into you mentally pulling up every other problem you've had for the last 6 months, the last 5 years, right? I know that cycle. I know it very well. And that's because our brain is more often in survival mode. It is wired to pay attention to potential danger and problems and threats. That's part of how we survive. But constantly living in that state, constantly scanning for what's wrong, what could go wrong, what you don't have, what you need to fix, it's so freaking exhausting, right? We don't just want to survive our lives, right? We didn't come here to just survive. We also want to thrive in them. So how do we strike that balance? I believe that gratitude is the best way. Gratitude helps us create that balance. When you intentionally practice gratitude, it's almost like hitting a reset button and bringing yourself back to baseline. So instead of obsessing over everything that's going wrong or all the things you don't have, you intentionally redirect your attention towards what is going right. and all the beautiful things you do have. And sometimes what's going right is really, really small. It's really, really simple. Maybe you made it home safely tonight, or maybe there's food in your fridge. Maybe you have a cozy bed to crawl into tonight. Maybe someone checked in on you today. Maybe you heard from a friend or someone you love that you haven't heard from in a long time. Maybe you simply made it through a really hard day. When you begin noticing those things, those small, tiny things, something shifts. The problems are still going to exist, but they're no longer taking up the entire screen of your life. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes to calm yourself down, the easier it becomes to create perspective and start seeing possibilities and solutions instead of only seeing the problems, instead of only seeing the challenges. It's like clearing up all the clutter out of your mind so you can actually have room to think again. The second benefit of gratitude is emotional well being. Gratitude is such a powerful equalizer. It's a powerful mood shifter. When you deliberately bring your attention to things you appreciate, you're interrupting that mental loop that's keeping you focused on everything that's going wrong, everything that's not working. And there's science behind this. Gratitude practices have been associated with greater positive emotion and overall well being. It genuinely helps us feel better. And when you feel better, you naturally show up differently. You notice different things. You make different decisions. You make different choices. You're more open, more receptive, more present, more patient. And you interact with the world and everyone around you very, very differently. And this is where the energetic side of gratitude comes in too, because I know you've probably heard like attracts like, right? When you're living in a genuine state of appreciation, you're no longer spending all your time reinforcing the story that something is missing or that something is wrong or that you don't have enough. You begin experiencing abundance in the present moment. You start noticing that what is already here, you start noticing all the beauty that's around you, noticing what is already working. You begin appreciating what you already have. And when you shift your focus like that, you shift how you feel. But I want to make something really, really clear here because this is important. Gratitude is not about ignoring your problems or pretending everything is perfect, everything's okay, and everyone's wonderful. This is something I talk about often, but I want to reiterate here because you are allowed to have a hard day, my love, okay? You are allowed to feel disappointed. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to say, this freaking sucks. You're allowed to say, life sucks. Okay? Practicing gratitude doesn't mean you suddenly have to spiritually bypass the negative human emotions that you experience. Think about it this way. When amazing things happen in our lives and we decide to celebrate them, does that mean that all the bad problems disappear? Right? It doesn't, does that mean that the difficult times, the challenges we're facing are gone? Of course not. Those problems still exist. But what we're doing in those moments is we're choosing to give our attention to the amazing and the wonderful thing that's happening, right? We're choosing what we're focusing on. Gratitude gives you the same ability to make the same choice even when life gets messy. It reminds you that you still have that same agency over where you place your attention, even when things suck. Okay. And that simple shift will completely change the way you move through all the difficult seasons in your life. That's how it shifted for me. When you practice gratitude consistently, you're no longer just surviving life's up and downs. You're learning how to find the beauty in it, and how to find the support, how to find love and abundance and humor and possibility and even joy inside of those moments. And trust me, I understand that this isn't always easy. Okay. If you're following my Come Sit in Gratitude with Me series in the mornings, you've witnessed the emotional roller coaster this intentional practice can bring. Okay. When life hits hard, it hits hard. And when it hits hard, focusing on something good can feel like the last thing you want to do. I've been there many, many times, even just as recent as a few weeks ago. Right. But what gratitude does is it's really like a muscle. So the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. And eventually you start noticing yourself reaching for gratitude even on those difficult days without even trying. Not because you're pretending that the difficult things aren't happening, but because you've trained your brain to remember that the difficult thing is happening, but so are the good things. You're training your brain to remember that the difficult thing is not the only thing that's happening. And that's so, so powerful, my loves. Okay. Now, moving on to the third benefit of gratitude. And obviously, one of my favorites is manifestation. Yes, gratitude amplifies, cat hair, your manifestation power. If you've ever felt like manifestation isn't working for you, one of the things I would look at is where you're spending the majority of your energy, the majority of your attention. Let's use money because we talk about money a lot around here. And that's one of the things that a lot of people relate to the easiest. If you're trying to manifest more money, but all day you're thinking about how broke you are and how you don't have enough money and thinking, how am I going to pay this? How am I going to afford that? Where's the money? Why isn't it here? What you're actually experiencing is what you're actually doing is projecting more lack. You're trying to manifest abundance while emotionally rehearsing the experience of not having abundance. But gratitude gives you a way out of that cycle, out of that loop. So instead of only focusing on the fact that money isn't here for you right now, you start appreciating the money that is here. And I don't care if it's $5, it's still money. Okay, maybe someone just bought you a coffee. That's still financial abundance. Maybe someone bought you lunch. Maybe a bill was cheaper than you expected. That's still a financial blessing to celebrate. Maybe you found a coupon. Okay, maybe you received a discount somewhere. Maybe someone gave you something you were about to buy for yourself. Maybe you received a rebate. Maybe money showed up unexpectedly. Maybe you simply had enough to pay for something that you needed exactly of that day. That's all evidence worth noticing, evidence worth collecting. So collect that evidence. Okay, that's something you hear me say so often, and come sit in gratitude with me. And I say that because when you start collecting evidence of abundance, you're teaching yourself to recognize that abundance is already moving through your life. That it's not something you're reaching for, something that's already here. And that shifts your energy. Gratitude aligns you with the experience of abundance, because when you're genuinely grateful, you're essentially saying, "Oh, look at everything I already have. Look at everything that's already working for me. Look at how supported I already am." That's a completely different frequency from constantly saying, "Oh my God, where is it? Like, why don't I have it yet? Oh gosh, when is it coming? I could really use it today." And this is why gratitude has become such a powerful manifestation practice for me. It doesn't require me to force myself to believe something that I don't believe. It doesn't require me to fake happiness or to fake abundance. It doesn't require me to spend all day obsessing over whether I'm detached enough, whether I'm visualizing correctly, whether I'm saying the affirmations perfectly. Gratitude brings me back to something real, something grounded, okay? Something I can genuinely appreciate right now because it already exists. And from there, I can expand, I can grow. Okay. When you're in a state of true gratitude, you begin experiencing fulfillment before the manifestation arrives. And that changes the relationship you have with whatever that thing is that you're trying to manifest. You're not saying, "Oh, I need this thing to happen so I can finally be happy." No, you're saying, "I'm already deeply grateful for my life. I'm already deeply grateful because I already have these things. I already have this thing. I'm excited to receive more, but look at all the amazing things I already have." That's such a different energy. Your manifestation becomes the cherry on top of an already beautiful life instead of the thing you're desperately waiting to save you, to bring you the joy, to bring you the happiness, to bring you the abundance. And that is where manifestation starts getting really, really yummy. Okay. Now, the fourth benefit I want to mention is one I don't think we talk about enough, and that's that gratitude makes your relationships so much better. Think about how amazing it feels when somebody genuinely tells you, like, "Hey, I really appreciate you." And they're not just saying it because they want something from you or it's your birthday or anything like that, but they're saying it solely because they genuinely noticed something about you and wanted you to know. Like, they paid attention and they wanted you to know. Doesn't that feel good? Feels so good, right? Now, imagine if you were being that person who was spreading that kind of energy. When you become someone who expresses appreciation regularly to people, you create this beautiful ripple effect of positivity in your relationships. It's like the more you give, the more you get back. And it's not just about the things you say, it's also about how you show up. And it's also about the things you notice. When you're intentionally looking for things to appreciate about someone, you're naturally paying more attention to the good side of them. You're naturally paying more attention to the good that they bring into your life. Okay, you notice the little things they do, the little things they are. You notice the effort they put in. You notice the way they're showing up for you and other people in their lives. You notice the text they sent just to check in on you. You notice the things they did to make you laugh. You notice when they remembered something important about you that you didn't even think was relevant, right? And I'm not saying to ignore like unhealthy behaviors or pretend someone toxic is perfect. Gratitude doesn't require you to abandon your boundaries, but in healthy relationships, appreciation can be incredibly powerful, can be incredibly empowering, because when you genuinely appreciate someone, you tend to become more patient with them. You tend to become more present. You tend to be more affectionate, more loving, more generous, more kind with your words, and more aware of what that person contributes to your life. And that energy is so magnetic. It strengthens the bonds that you already have in your life, and it also draws amazing people to you. Okay, but the best part is when your relationships are full of this kind of love and support. It's like the feedback loop of good vibes, right? The more appreciation you give out, the more appreciation starts circulating through your relationships. And suddenly you've created this yummy, beautiful feedback loop of love and support and gratitude, which is extremely delicious. So yummy. Okay, now the fifth and last benefit we're going to discuss is, and this one fascinated me when I first started learning about it, and that is the connection between gratitude and our physical well-being. Okay, gratitude doesn't only affect the way you think and feel emotionally, it actually has a real impact on your physical health as well. Lots of studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly have stronger immune systems, they sleep better, they even experience less physical pain, like less inflammation. How crazy is that? Right? But honestly, when I started to think about it, it made so much sense. Because remember what we've been talking about throughout this episode is that gratitude shifts your focus away from constantly dwelling on what's wrong and brings your attention back to what's good and what's working, right? And what all the things all the beauty that you actually have, right? And when you're not constantly sitting on that worry and that fear and the overwhelm and the lack, naturally your stress levels are going to come down. And that's where the physical benefits start to make a lot of sense, because our emotional state and our physical body, they're not operating in two different realms. They're not operating in two different dimensions. They're not in two different universes. What affects us mentally and emotionally and spiritually can affect us physically too. So if gratitude helps reduce stress, and we know that chronic stress is a major contributor to so many different health problems, then it only makes sense that regularly practicing gratitude can have a positive effect on our physical health too, right? And I know we've all felt this, what stress can do to our body. When you're stressed, your shoulders tighten, you clench your jaw, your heart starts racing, you have anxiety attacks, you can't sleep because your mind will never shut off. Stress isn't something that only happens in our head. The whole body experiences it too. But gratitude helps interrupt that constant stress response and brings you into a calmer, more relaxed state, which allows your entire body to relax and exhale as well. So when you're on that beautiful, yummy gratitude frequency, you can literally feel your body soften. You can feel your shoulders drop. You can feel that your breathing changes and deepens. Your jaw unclenches. Your body gets the message that, or at least in the moment, that we're safe, we're okay, right? It's almost like giving your body this mini vacation from all the tension and all the chaos that's happening. Like, seriously, forget your massages. If you're feeling really tense and tired and overwhelmed or just kind of blah, you need to start a gratitude practice. It's super simple, but the way it can help your body reset is huge. It's like it's self-care, but on a whole new level. Okay. Actually, let's not forget the massages. We want the massages too. Never mind. Never mind. But add gratitude. Really is all I'm saying. Just add gratitude. Okay. So those are the five of the major benefits of gratitude that I wanted to discuss in this episode that perhaps you may have not been aware of. Now, I want to talk about how you can actually practice it because this is where I think people sometimes miss a lot of the magic, right? You don't need to make this complicated out. In fact, please don't. Please don't make it complicated. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start small. Going to start small and simple. Start with just three things you're grateful for. I don't want you to make a super large list of things you're grateful for. Just start with three things. Super simple. It's so simple, but it's super powerful, right? Every day, just take a few minutes and write down three things you're grateful for. And again, they don't have to be three huge things. You don't have to wait for some giant manifestation or life changing event before you're allowed to be grateful. Maybe you're grateful for your morning coffee or your morning tea, right? Maybe you're grateful for a funny meme a friend sent you. Maybe you're grateful for your favorite coworker or that your favorite song came on in the car in a shuffle, right? Or maybe you're just grateful for a beautiful sunrise or a beautiful sunset, or maybe you got to go to the beach and you're just grateful to be around water. Maybe you're grateful that you woke up today. Those are enough. Maybe you're grateful for the sunshine, right? Those are enough. The point isn't to impress anyone with this elaborate and pretentious gratitude list. The point is to start training yourself to simply notice, because the more you notice, the more there is to notice. All right. Now, the second thing is, and this is key, you're going to explain why you're grateful for each thing. I don't want you to just list what you're grateful for. Tell yourself why you're grateful for each one of them. This is one of the foundational pieces of the Gratitude is Yummy method, of course, because the why is what takes you deeper into the feeling. It's actually what activates it. Okay. So instead of simply writing, I'm grateful for my best friend, which is gratitude and it's great, tell me why so you can activate gratitude. That's activated gratitude. Maybe it's, I'm grateful for Sarah because when I felt like everyone was attacking me today, she immediately jumped in to defend me and it made me feel really supported. Wow. Do you feel that difference? Do you feel that shift? Right? The first one is just a statement. It's just a random list that doesn't really invoke any feelings. The second one creates an emotional experience. Okay, now you're remembering what happened. Now you're remembering how Sarah actually showed up for you. You're remembering what it felt like to be supported. That's activated gratitude. Okay, that's gratitude is yummy. And the feeling that it generates, it's yummy. That's why it's called gratitude is yummy. And you don't need to write like a whole novel about with for the reason either. One or two sentences here is plenty. We're simply giving your mind enough information to reconnect with the feeling behind the gratitude, because feeling it is what changes everything. Again, it's what activates the gratitude. Now, the final step is be consistent. That's it. And this part is extremely necessary. Doing a gratitude practice once or twice is great. It's wonderful. You'll probably feel really, really good right after. But if you want gratitude to actually change the way you experience your life, you have to practice it consistently. Think of it like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. Okay? You don't brush your teeth once and say, amazing, teeth, check, done forever, handled. Like, no, you're going to do it every day. Gratitude works the same way. You're building a new mental and emotional habit. And the more consistent you become, the more naturally your mind begins searching for all the good that's in your life without you even having to force it. Okay. This is something I've experienced through my own practice. And after a while, you start noticing gratitude throughout your day because your brain knows now to look for them. It just starts doing it on autopilot without you even trying, without you even setting an intention to do it, right? Something beautiful happens and immediately you're like, ooh, look at that evidence. More evidence. Yes. Right? You receive unexpected money. That's evidence. Someone does something incredibly kind for you. That's evidence. An opportunity appears. That's evidence. You see a beautiful rose. That's evidence, right? The sun is shining on your face and it feels so cleansing. That's evidence. You have a random moment where you realize how freaking beautiful your life is. That's all evidence. You're teaching yourself to notice your life while you're actually living it. You're not waiting. Okay. And that to me is one of the most beautiful parts of this entire wonderful, magical, potent practice. Okay. Now, if you need help staying consistent or you don't know where to start, this is exactly why I created the Gratitude is Yummy journal. The journal takes you through the Gratitude is Yummy method step by step, beginning with your 3 daily gratitudes that we talked about, and importantly, why you're grateful for each one of them. But we don't stop at gratitude. This is one of the beauties of the Gratitude is Yummy method and journal. Once we activate that beautiful yummy frequency of gratitude, we use it. We alchemize it. We move into scripting our dream lives from that energy. And then after that, we seal that scripting in with our to feel activation, because we're not only writing about the things we want to have or the things we want to experience, we're connecting with how we also want to feel in our lives. We're connecting with how we want our lives to feel for us. Okay. The entire practice was intentionally designed around the way I personally use gratitude as the foundation for my emotional well being and for creating the life that feels really, really freaking yummy for me. And yes, the journal itself is absolutely gorgeous because obviously I need you to actually want to use it every day. But I also wanted it to be a physical representation of the life that you are creating, the beautiful, magical life that you are creating, right? If you want to start practicing the Gratitude is Yummy method, grab your journal at gratitudebabe.com. All right, my gratitude babes, I really hope today's conversation reminds you that gratitude is so much more powerful than we sometimes give it credit for. It doesn't mean pretending your life is perfect. It doesn't mean ignoring what's hard. And it definitely doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive every second of every day. It's about learning to recognize that even when something is going wrong, something else can also be going right. There can still be something beautiful even in the tough times, even in the messy times. There can still be something supporting you, even in the times that you feel alone. There can still be something worth appreciating, even in the times when you feel like you've lost everything. And when you start looking for those things consistently, you start experiencing your entire life differently. So, if you are ready, I encourage you to begin today. Okay. And I mean it. I mean today. Don't wait. Start today, right? Start with your 3 things. And then I want you to tell yourself, why are you grateful for these? And then do it again tomorrow. And I want you to watch what happens in your life when you do this. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, hype, and subscribe and share with another gratitude babe who might need this message as well. And I want you to come tell me in the comments one thing you're grateful for right now. And again, I don't just want you to tell me what it is. You have to tell me why. You have to tell me why. You have to tell me why. All right, my loves. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm so freaking grateful for every single one of you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I'll keep repeating it to the day I die. And I will see you in the next episode. Ciao, gratitude babes. Mwah.